welcome back, everyone, as we are now approaching the final hour of the program. This morning, the Oscars are well underway, and a couple of us are frantically trying to keep up as to who are the winners
including
so far,
you.
including myself. However, this year, the general consensus that people are interested in is the several nominations representing Asia.
Yes.
What do you think about this recent trend, especially this year?
Yeah, it's very exciting indeed because Michelle Yeoh won for Best Actress in the Golden Globe, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then also her co-star actually was also Ki Hui Kwan, if I don't pronounce it,
Right.
if I pronounced it correctly. And apparently he also won the Oscars for Best Supporting Actors just minutes ago. So let's discuss about this Asian representation in the Oscars, right, Paul?
That's right. Joining us is Venus University film lecturer Mas Ekky Imanjaya. Good morning, Mas Ekky.
Good morning.
Morning,
Thank you
Mas
for being here and taking time of the Oscars to chat with us.
Thank you for having me here. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's talk about the what we just discussed right here. The main topic of discussion for everyone seems to be Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yes.
They have 11 nominations in total, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay, and many, many more, including Supporting Actor and Actress. So what's your take on this kind of, I always call it like the Titanic effect. When somebody has more than 10 nominations, I always think of Titanic. But what do you think about that this year?
Yeah, I think it's very nice to have Everything Everywhere all at once because I think it started in 2020 when Parasite won, and then later there were some films representing Asia like Minari and then Nomadland and so on. But the thing is, if we talk about the ASEAN representation on Oscar, we should talk about the hashtag Oscar So White started in 2015 because at that time it's like only 8 or 9% of non-white person. But the thing is, if we talk about Oscar So White, people always focus on the black representation, black people representation. But now we are starting to talk about Asian representation as well.
And this is only very recent as well, right?
Yeah,
You
very
mentioned
recent.
only the last couple of years, because
Exactly.
a lot of times it's you're very much right in this, because it's also based out of the U.S. A lot of times when it's non-white, you're not thinking of everyone out there as well. And
Yeah.
there are so many films out there. If you talk about Oscars, it's a worldwide event and worldwide recognition.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what changes for the past 8 years in the Hollywood landscape?
The thing is, if we talk about Oscars, we talk about how things work. Because the Academy members have the direct vote, thousands of them, and the result apparently is what's on their mind. Yeah, because so that's what. And if we talk about Asian representation, there are two ways to talk. The first thing is about the actors of the filmmakers who built their careers in the U.S.
Yes.
It's like Ang Lee, Michelle Yeoh, and so on. And the second one is foreign films directly from Asian countries compete, like Drive My Car, Parasite,
And in fact, in the foreign language as well, right? Yes.
No, in the main competition, like Crouching Tigers, like in the main competition, and then Parasite and Drive My Car, and those are very rare cases, yeah. Usually in the international movies,
Best foreign film
best foreign, yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So before this, we did mention several Asians have already, before Everything Everywhere All at Once, have been nominated and even won Oscars. Let's have a look at a couple of them. Mas Ekky had mentioned Ang Lee. Well, in 2005, Ang Lee became the first Asian to win the Best Director award for his work on Brokeback Mountain. And in 2020, it was also mentioned that Bong Joon-ho's Parasite became the first Asian and non-English language film to win Best Picture. It also won Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, and Best International Feature Film awards. And in 2021, a year later, we had Chloe Zhao's Nomadland winning Best Picture. So, it's great that Asians are getting this recognition, but again, it is far and few in between. Some would argue that it's still not enough. I mean, there's just so many films out there. Why do you think it's so difficult for countries like India or China, and they have produced plenty of films, to break into this Oscar?
Yeah, as I said, there are two ways to discuss this matter. The first one is the actors or the filmmakers who build careers, and it's very hard because the members of the academy will vote. So it's like how they think on their mind. And the second one is the international movies award, the international category. The film should be watched by the thousands of academy members. Like Parasite, the Parasite won because the South Korean government had a great support.
Yes.
You know, many much money, the budget to make sure that the films were
Get the exposure.
get exposure and watched by the academy members in the U.S.
Yes.
That's a bit political, I guess, right?
It
Yes.
is, but the Oscars is always political, right? And speaking
Yeah.
of political, I'm very curious because recently, well, the past 2-3 years, there's been this issue that is happening also in the U.S., which is the Asian hate. Especially after COVID, right? All of a sudden, you know, like people blame Asian-looking people for creating or being the source of the virus, right? So, so do you think this is also some sort of a political decision by the members of the academy to sort of like make a statement to their country?
Yeah, we can say that in one way, but the second one is the taste, of course, of the academy members. Like Crouching Tiger won, lose from Gladiator, for example,
Gladiator
because
in
Gladiator
2000.
represents the U.S. or the West in particular, and Crouching Tiger has like a Chinese language, and you know the U.S. People, they don't like English subtitles.
Right. Yeah.
They keep complaining about the Parasite when the Parasite won, and
Right.
in English subtitles and so on.
Okay. So,
So it's like,
that
yeah.
mindset still exists.
Yeah.
Of course, I think in most European countries as well.
But the thing is, you know, the power of hashtag. Yeah, there are at least two powerful hashtag. The first one is Me Too, hashtag Me Too, and the second one is the Oscar So White.
Right.
So I think it's keep on changing because as we know, in Hollywood, there are varieties of background of ethnical group, race, and so on. So that should represent on the nomination list, right?
Do you think what's happening right now, especially with some of the Asian nominees winning already in the Oscars, that this will change the landscape of Hollywood a little bit? Because when you mentioned about Oscar So White back in 2015, since then the nominees have been quite varied. They've been more aware of including Black artists as well in the nominations. So with this one, this time Asia, do you think in the future that's what's going to happen as well?
Yeah, I think so because from 2015 to 2020, there were not a lot of going on until 2020 when the hashtag reappears.
Oh, so it
2020, yeah.
it out for a while.
Yeah, and then later in 2020, Parasite won, and then followed the upcoming year the Minari, and then what else? Yeah, Chloe Zhao with the Nomadland, and then Riz Ahmed with the Sound of Metal, and so on. Yeah, and so on. And now we have Everything Everywhere. Then that's nice because usually when a movie won some awards from previous film festivals, usually they have a greater chance to.
Yeah, they get like a bit of momentum.
Like Globe and Globe and so on.
Yeah.
And if we see the history as well, there has been some breakthroughs in Hollywood when it comes to Asian artists as well. Like, for example, in 2018, Time magazine lauded Crazy Rich Asians, in which Michelle Yeoh actually played the protective mother of the groom as the modern-day story with an all-Asian cast and Asian-American lead in 25 years since the Joy Luck Club by
Oh, wow.
Amy Tan in 1993.
Remember that?
I love that film. I felt represented. I loved it. I was 10 when I watched that, and I thought, wow, this is really cool.
But it was like the only film with Asians at the time.
Exactly. At the time, it's very rare, right?
Yes.
And then if we see in 2021, Marvel released its first Asian-led superhero film, Shang-Chi and the Legend
yeah.
of Ten Rings,
Yeah.
while comedies like The Farewell with Awkwafina playing there as well. I think she won the Golden Globe for her role in The Farewell, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And there's also Always Be My Baby, were hailed for their relatable depictions of Asian American characters. And then, as you mentioned earlier, in 2021 Oscars, Yo Jung-yoon won Best Supporting Actress for Minari, becoming the first Asian actor to win an acting Oscar since 1985 when the Cambodian actor Haing Ngor won for The Killing Fields.
Right.
So, yeah.
And in fact, this year that trend has continued, and there are multiple nominations to represent Asia in 2023 Oscars. Let's have a look at the list of nominated films featuring Asian and Asian American films at the Oscars 2023. Everything Everywhere All at Once, as mentioned, has 11 nominations, including Best Picture, Writing or Original Screenplay, Film Editing, Directing, Actor in a Supporting Role, and Actress in a Leading Role, Actress in a Supporting Role, Costume Design, Music Original Score, and Music Original Song.
Yes, that's pretty impressive.
And already won 2 of those categories. No, sorry about the spoilers, guys.
And then also the whale actress Hong Chau has her first nomination for Best Supporting Actress for her performance in The Whale.
Ooh, okay. And this last one, I remember, was one that my daughter absolutely loved, Turning Red. Directed by Domi Shi, is an animated film starring a spunky, lovable 13-year-old named Mei Lin Lee, or Mei. She transforms into a giant red panda anytime she experiences any strong emotions due to a hereditary cause.
Yes, indeed. And the last one, oh yeah, The Elephant Whisperer, marking Kartiki Gonzalez's directorial debut. The Elephant Whisperers is a short documentary about an indigenous couple living in Tamil Nadu who have dedicated their lives to taking care of an orphan baby elephant named Raghu. I think this is going to be a tearjerker. I did manage to see a little bit. I haven't finished it because I wasn't up for crying at that time.
Oh, not in the mood.
So yeah, these are some of the contenders. It's amazing. It's interesting actually because you can see some of the nominated short films already on Netflix, and some of them I've actually watched and they're amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, from your perspective, Ekky, obviously the Oscars are now making this kind of obvious shift in their perspectives as well. How important do you think this move is right now, or at least over this last couple of years? There's been a turnaround in having Asian representation at the Oscars. Why is that important?
It's important because first, Oscar needs to be more inclusive, right?
Correct.
Just because they need to accept the fact that the workers, the filmmakers, are from varieties of background. And the second one is we need to represent the underrepresented. Yeah, that's very, because they have their own, stories, and including they have, that's not only Asian but American Asian filmmakers, because they are American, but they are from the Asia, like that's this, and of course they should get the same, opportunity to get acknowledged, to get considered as the
And I agree as well that I believe that was the bridge, like to have Asian Americans start this whole trend, like with Ang Lee. It's, even though it's a little bit at a time, but at least they had the opportunities to already be in America, so they had the exposure. But now, again, bridging the gap over to Asia to have those Asian films and actors.
And Ang Lee already won 2 Oscars.
2 Oscars.
Yeah, Brokeback Mountain and Life of Pi.
Oh, yeah.
That's right, that was Ang Lee.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing. And I think that also underlines the importance of telling this story in a more authentic way, because there was some controversies when, back in 2017 when the film Ghost in a Shell, this starred Scarlett Johansson in the lead role, when it's actually, it's a Japanese manga narrative, right? It should have been played by a Japanese because it would give the Japanese perspective.
The whitewashing.
Exactly. And
phenomenon.
also, for example, actor George Takei also balked at Tilda Swinton playing a Tibetan character in Doctor Strange in 2016.
Yeah.
It is very important to tell a story from the perspective of the culture of that person is from, and that's why I think the importance of diversity now in Hollywood is increasing. Like, for example, I personally am involved in this animation movie that is currently produced in the West, which is between France and America, and I am playing an Indonesian activist.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, because they need to have this person played by an Indonesian person, an Indonesian activist, because it will give them the Indonesian perspective. Of
Even though
being
you're
activists.
speaking in
English, yeah.
but at least you know what it's like.
Exactly.
It's the way you deliver it.
Exactly.
It's more
exactly.
authentic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And I think one of the reasons that I can understand if a filmmaker wants a Scarlett Johansson on the billing because, hey, I need to sell tickets.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Movie.
Of
But
course.
now that Asians do have more representation, we do know more and more Korean actors and actresses, Chinese, Indonesian, that now you can have your pick of the litter. You don't have to
Yes.
have somebody play those parts anymore. And I think
Yeah.
that's the more another important step to mention as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
any predictions? I mean, Everything Everywhere All at Once, 11 nominations. They've won 2 so far, but only supporting and best supporting female and male actor and actress.
Yes.
So, do you think they're going to clean up this year?
I hope so. Because that would be nice.
That would be great. Best
That would be
picture,
great.
you think? I think they've got a good shot.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my.
Yeah, there are 3 surreal comedy in the nomination. One of them is Everything Everywhere, and the other 2 are the how do you call it, the Banshees of it.
Oh, Banshees of Inisherin.
And then Triangle of Sadness.
Oh my gosh. I'm actually voting. I would vote for Triangle of Sadness.
Yeah.
Actually.
No, that's the thing. I'm glad that it's such an even
Amazing.
playing field this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope the narrative doesn't become something else. I hope it's, let's say,
I hope
Banshees one.
the-
I hope it doesn't become, they're against
Yeah.
Asian. I mean, I think it's very
No,
level
no.
playing field right now. I think if any of those films win, I think it's deserved.
But
the best
interestingly, Bands of Inisherin is Ireland, right?
Yeah.
And then Everything Everywhere is Chinese American or Asian American, and the Triangle of Sadness is Norwegian, European. I can't. But that film is fantastic.
Yeah.
I know the Banshees of Inisherin was in
Absurd.
English, but I still had to watch it with subtitles because the accent was so.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
it's so thick.
Anyway,
Yeah.
great stuff. So we're gonna obviously follow along for the latest results as the Oscars are continuing to run here. But thank you, Masaki, for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ekky.
All right, we're up for another short break here, everyone. But a quick reminder for all those that haven't already followed our social media accounts, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at See Today News. Give us a follow. We'll be right back.
Is it Norwegian Triangle of Sadness?